Live.
We are live, changing up the schedule because of Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Welcome to the Ryan Ripken Show, our Wednesday afternoon edition. As always, got Brad behind everything, making this work. Zach.
Is this considered Friendsgiving? Is this considered Friendsgiving?
Because we're with friends.
Yeah. Well, until Rocco gets on, but.
Well, yeah, so we have three friends here, and then Rocco DeSangro is actually joining us live. He's about to go check out what's going on with the Baltimore Ravens. Rock, how we doing?
Good, guys. Zach, for it to be Friendsgiving, you have to have friends. You don't have any, so.
Wow, you see, this is why I didn't include Rocco in the Friendsgiving original post. You see?
Already on fire.
I never get tagged. It is what it is.
Rocco's been holding on to that one. Rocco's been holding on to that one for a little bit.
In the chamber, man.
Hey, you know what? Rocco's charged up. I think all of us, we have a little bit more of pep in our step, supercharged. Maybe it's the holidays. Maybe
it's not 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
We're not recovering from a tough weekend.
That's right. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, for sure.
It's all the above. But hey, welcome everyone that's joining in right now. But let's just dive into this quicker because Rocco's on a time crunch. He's got to go do all of the reporting, see what's going on with the Ravens as they prep for the Chargers. Before we get into all of that, we want to do a shout out to our sponsor, Adams Jeep. And for Ravens fans, before we fully dive in, Adams Jeep for us, this is our first real big sponsor on here, which we're pumped and psyched, and they are tremendous partners to work with. And for those who live and breathe the excitement and resilience of the Ravens, Adams Jeep really does deliver the same spirit on the road. I mean, Brad, you can attest to it.
Absolutely. So Adams Jeep has a lineup of vehicles as tough and as versatile as the Ravens are. Whether you're tailgating or hitting the trails, they've got the perfect Jeep for you. I have a badass Jeep Gladiator Rubicon. It's got 39-inch tires on it. It's awesome.
That thing, you've put that to good use. That thing is a unit. Wow. It's amazing.
Yes. It's been off-road, done all the things. So anyways, why not swing by Adams Jeep of Maryland, experience the adventure and power that only a Jeep can offer. Now let's get into the heart of the Ravens territory and see what our team has in store for us today, Ryan.
Well, there it is. Ravens, it's a big week, and I know we're doing this a lot earlier, but let's get this kicked off. Rocco, we're going to ask you a little bit about injuries, but the biggest one that everyone was worried about right now, Mark Andrews is out. Obviously, we all know that. But there was worry at the quarterback position because Lamar's ankle injury. So we have a little clip to just give you an update on how Lamar is feeling going into this week.
Second, just your ankle good there.
I believe I'm good. I believe I'm 100%.
So there it is. You heard it. You heard
about 100%.
What's 100%? Come on, Lamar. Got to be more confident than that. No, I really do think Lamar is 100%. I think it got tweaked. It got agitated during the game. And when you're playing on it and continue to kind of agitate it, that's going to happen. So Lamar was limping around during the game. He ended up finishing the game, and he had a great, fantastic game where he had 2 touchdowns. So I don't think this is something that's going to be a nagging injury for Lamar. I think we're going to see him practice today, whether that's in limited or in full fashion. That's one thing or the other. But I really do truly believe that when the injury report comes out later on today, Lamar Jackson will be a full participant. Maybe the Ravens are cautious with it if it was nagging, but I think the guy is going to be a full go and he's going to be fine going forward. They're really not going to put him up at the podium to talk if he has an injury that's going to hold him out of Sunday's game, and if they know that right at this point in time.
Yeah, and we even talked about that. They wouldn't let Lamar go out there and actually speak if something was really wrong. But everyone holds their breath when it has to do with Lamar Jackson because the team goes as he goes. Now, Rock, we know about Mark Andrews being out, but there is some positive news, at least with some other guys. The Ravens are having, I believe, some players coming off IR that hopefully we don't know when they're returning, but could be some reinforcements, especially for that defense.
No, and that's big. The one I saw was Pepe Williams is coming back, and that's something that, Pepe comes in last season, helped on special teams, and they had to plug him in a little bit at the cornerback position with all the injuries. So he got significant time last season and actually got to see a lot of time on the defensive side of the ball. So adding him to an already solid defense, it's going to be big for Mike Macdonald going forward because that is, you might not call Pepe Williams a weapon necessarily on the defense, but that's another body, another reinforcement for Mike Macdonald's unit.
He's an all-pro vibes guy too. That's like the biggest thing I've taken away from Pepe Williams, like from his year and a half in the Ravens. from the second he got here, just incredible vibes from Pepe Williams.
Yeah.
That's a guy I would love
would
to have
agree.
on this show. Pepe.
Yep.
Hey,
Pepe?
Pepe, if you're available, you want to come on. We would like to we'd like to hear these perspectives, and he's a fan favorite too. People want to see him, and a lot of the Ravens do well. Now, Rock, it's kind of crazy because Thanksgiving games are tomorrow. I'm gonna watch every single game personally. I don't know about you guys, but the Ravens then are actually playing the primetime game on Sunday night. They're going to LA. And you got some stats that we talked about last week, but the Ravens are prepping for yet another primetime game.
Yeah, this is a team that just thrives in primetime. Back-to-back primetime games. I don't know what their record is in kind of that type of schedule, but I don't see the Ravens losing this game to the Chargers. They're going to go out. It's a business trip for these guys. They know the deal. I'm pretty sure they get Thanksgiving off. At least we do tomorrow. Not me. I have to actually work, but here at the castle where I'm sitting right now. No, I'm just saying, like, there's not a media viewing period or practice tomorrow. So I'm sure the guys get off. I'm sure they get to enjoy the times with their families. And then it's back to work before they take on the Chargers, before that West Coast road trip. And I want you guys to keep something in mind, those of you that are watching, for someone like Odell Beckham Jr., if he is able to play in this game. I know Coach Harbaugh said that shoulder injury isn't expected to be long-term, but if he does play, this is kind of a game of sentimental value for him because obviously SoFi Stadium, that's where the Rams played when he was a member of the team. But you look at where they played the Super Bowl, where he got hurt, where he won his first Super Bowl. So for him, Rip, being a former pro athlete, I mean, you go back to a place where you got injured or you go back to a place where you celebrated in the locker room or the clubhouse. It's got to be of sentimental value to you. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of emotions that go along with that, right? And for OBJ, it's a place where it had a lot of great memories, but it also had a moment where there's almost a career-defining moment in the sense where we didn't know if OBJ was going to be coming back or what OBJ would be coming back at this point in the season, taking a year off. A lot of great memories out there. But for the Ravens' sake, let's just be honest, guys. OBJ looked like he was starting to pick it up. So just for that momentum and that confidence, you saw that against the Bengals. The Ravens are going to need that with Mark Andrews out. Brad, I think you got a question for Rock because I know he's limited on time.
Yeah, actually, it had directly to do with Mark Andrews. I mean, this will be the first game without him this season, I believe. No, first game of the season he was out. So, but either way, you know, he led the league in touchdowns by tight end this year. Everybody loves to talk about Kelsey, but I think that Andrews has been the best tight end this year, as I thought he was last year as well. That being said, the last time I remember my biggest memory of the Ravens playing the Chargers was that rookie season with him and Lamar, a deep pass, huge touchdown late in the game. Talk to us about the impact of not having Mark Andrews there versus the Chargers, Rock. And I wonder if there's any way you can ask Lamar that today in a presser.
Well, unfortunately, I can't because Lamar spoke yesterday about that, Brad. Yeah, so I can't. I wish I could. I'm not going to be. And if you go in the locker room, it's if a player spoke usually earlier in the week, they're not going to let you talk to him again. It's just the rules are rules. I can't break them. If I do, I might have to do that though. No, I'm just kidding. They throw me off this facility so fast. But I think if you look at what Mark Andrews has done for this team, for Lamar Jackson, he's Lamar Jackson's security blanket. And that's not a bad thing. That is a guy where if Lamar is in trouble or if he doesn't have a target downfield, he's throwing the ball to Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is all reliable. He's his guy. He's the guy he came into the league with. Lamar calls him his boy. He's like, that's my boy. And you could see there was some emotion. I don't know if there were tears building up when Lamar was talking about Mark Andrews after the game, but you could tell it was getting to him. You could tell after Mark Andrews went down, Lamar took his helmet and he tossed it on the ground. That is how much Mark Andrews means to this team, to Lamar Jackson. And it's not only, Brad, his on-the-field presence. It's what he does in the locker room. It's his leadership. Mark Andrews, agree with what he did against the Commanders in that joint practice or don't agree with what he did against the Commanders in that joint practice. When he's tossing guys to the ground, when he's getting in their faces this season, even when Lamar gets – there's a group on the sideline going after Lamar, chirping at him. Mark Andrews, who's the first guy there? It's 89. You see him in that pile. Pulling Lamar out, getting in people's faces. That's my quarterback. So that is what you're missing with Mark Andrews. And the Ravens, they went out and they brought someone in. They brought in a tight end for their practice squad. But the guys that you are going to have to keep an eye out for are Isaiah Likely, Charlie Kohler. Their roles increase. The second-year tight ends, they're really going to have to step up. And Isaiah Likely did that when Andrews went down last season. So Likely is a guy that is going to have a really big rest of the season if the Ravens want to continue to have that success at the tight end position.
So do you think Likely, or who do you think steps up as Lamar's security blanket in this type of situation? Because I feel like I have a guy, but I want to see.
And I think I know who your
at.
guy is, Zach. I think I know who your guy is. I think it's a number 7 on his back. He's known by
I think Rashad's
as
stepping
Batman.
up.
Yeah,
oh
no,
yeah.
I think Rashad could step up too. I think it's going to be Zay Flowers has been the favorite target. I wouldn't necessarily call him a security blanket, but
yeah,
I think 4 is going to get a ton of increased reps, a ton of increased not reps, but catches, receptions, targets. I think Lamar is going to look to find him more. Bateman, you could see Aguilar get more involved. I mean, that pass and catch was, talk about bread and butter, peanut butter and jelly. Yeah. That was as bread and butter as peanut butter and jelly as you get. Peanut butter and Nelly, you might want to call it. So
did you just think of that?
Did you just think of that? And Nelly?
Did you just think about that?
Off the top, man. Off the top. That was cooking.
I'm corny. I'm corny.
And you're the biggest cornball out there.
You don't.
It's bad. It's bad.
It ain't bad. Just wait until the after dark content. Then you have no idea.
Well, stop traffic. Stop traffic.
Hey now.
I mean, if you guys don't like Wedding Crashers, I don't know what to tell you. Hey, but then talking about that for the Ravens, we always thought you need more wide receiver depth, but really everything has run through Mark Andrews. So it's going to be very fascinating to see what's going to happen. And Rock, I guess, guys, we got to kind of close it out here. The Ravens, this is a pivotal game if we look about it. You're going into the bye after this, right? And then things are getting spicy for Baltimore. You got the Rams. I know it's a game they can have at home, but then you got at Jacksonville, at San Francisco, both prime time, both on the road. Do you think right now is there going to be a little bit more of an urgency or a little bit more pressure, even though Ravens are going to be favored, right? Like this is a game they should win, but this is not going to be easy because now the Chargers on their hand after their disappointing loss, they're really playing for their season going out to LA and SoFi Stadium.
What I don't want the Ravens to do if I'm a fan or if I'm this coaching staff is look ahead to that bye, because it's like if you're running a marathon, you're waiting to get to that. I've never done that, by the way. Like I'm, no shot. I'm not doing turkey trots. If my girlfriend's family asked me to do that, I'd probably break up with her. My friends that do that, I call them psychopaths. Turkey trots.
I thought you had run multiple marathons.
Well, you see him,
I can't run a marathon.
He's swole Rocco.
Oh, that's true. He can't.
He's not built for speed or distance.
It is hard to carry that much muscle for that long of a distance.
I have, thanks. You just gassing me up right now. I have bad asthma, actually, and that's why I'm not a great runner. Cross-country runner in high school, but I wasn't very good. So, yeah. But what I would not – let's get back on track. Come on. What are we doing here, boys?
Yeah, come on. What are we doing,
Anyway,
Rocco?
We're talking about marathons for this reason. I don't want the Ravens to look ahead to the finish line right away. Like, obviously, the goal is to get there, but it's you don't want to look to those breaks, the water breaks. You don't want to look to that finish line right away. It's slow and steady right now. So for the Ravens, they're in a really good position. It might be a terrible analogy that I just said because not the smartest person. I think people might have gotten it, but I do not want this team to look ahead. It's one game at a time. Take care of business against the Chargers. They're down Joey Bosa. He's got that foot sprain. Justin Herbert is not playing great. Brandon Staley, I don't even know what he's doing as head coach right now.
Neither do we.
And honestly, quite frankly, I'm surprised. I'm surprised he still has a job because he has been that bad,
surprised too.
That awful.
Right.
It's just the analytics.
That's surprised.
Yeah.
So the Ravens, they need to go out west. They need to take care of business, not worry about all the exterior stuff. Get to that bye week, rest on the bye week, and then really gear up and hit the ground running. Because I don't know, Zach, if you're happy that they did this or Rip or Brad, but not taking that bye after that trip to the UK, I think was huge. And it's going to pay dividends going forward.
I think looking back, it's massive. I wasn't necessarily a fan of it, especially because they picked Detroit after because you get to pick your opponent.
Yeah.
I thought that was in the moment. I was like, this is a horrible decision. Obviously, they know better than me because they whooped Detroit and now they have the benefit of a very late bye to get healthy to go in the home stretch.
Yep.
That's the reality of it too. This is why, at least for the NFL, if you have a choice, try to take advantage of it. Teams would rather have a little bit of a break, I feel like, towards the end. Yeah. I know some people say momentum, but for the Ravens, you're going to want that break because the road from there on out, and that's going to be included in the playoffs, going to be tough, especially if the Ravens are going to get the number 1 seed. Rock, we will let you go do your job. You can ask them questions about how they feel about all this, and you can report back to me first.
Yeah, no doubt.
And,
report back to you first. You're my boss.
Report
right?
back to me.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
You first. You're a good
what's
kid.
What's the show called again? The Ryan Ripken Show and everyone else.
Damn right.
Yeah,
it's the Ryan
everyone-
Ripken
Yeah, exactly.
Named
Ryan
after
and
Brad.
friends.
Named
Yeah,
after Brad.
exactly.
Did you know that?
Brad the dad.
Brad the dad.
Brad the dad. Hey, go do your thing. It's
Thanks,
Ryan
buddy.
Ripken and the good kids. Hey, Rock, you're a great kid. Go enjoy yourself. Get us some more insight, and we will talk soon, man. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
Yeah,
Enjoy
Rock.
it.
Hey,
All right,
Rock,
talk to
don't
you guys
do
soon.
anything illegal.
All right, beat it.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Tag me, loser. Goodbye.
God, really, you know what? I regret the great kid part.
I think that should be a new thing, like Ripken and the Good Kids. That could be like our storytelling segment. Just Ripken and the Good Kids.
Oh yeah, that would be electric. But hey, so much going off of that, and to the point, Rocco is going to talk to them more about. Ravens are the number 1 seed right now, but we're only in week 12 right now is coming up this week. Yeah. There's so much football left to be played, but they're in the position that they'd want to be in.
Yeah, and what I was thinking too, it's like they've had 10 days before this Chargers game too, so it's kind of like a mini bye almost. So you have this mini bye, you play the Chargers, you get another bye, like it's just a great time to get all that rest before you go down the stretch.
You know what? I'm actually happy when they come out of this bye. I'm glad it's not against Jacksonville or San Francisco.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be because a lot of teams have a little bit of rust trying to get back.
Right.
And it ultimately is going to help them down the road. But it's hard to sometimes be able to get that same momentum. We've seen it in years past. That Panthers game, I think last year, that was ugly.
Yep.
Oh,
so
that was so ugly.
That was ugly. But anyway, Ravens are in great position. But I'm curious, we are going to see a Ravens offense without the guy, Mark Andrews. Someone's going to have to step up.
Yeah, we're going to have to see what purple jersey wants to step up. And speaking of purple jerseys.
Oh, I like what you're doing there.
There's someone who owns a lot of purple jerseys. And that person would be Patrick Queen, who I guess found out, he probably already knew, that when you switch numbers, you are responsible for buying all of the previous number jerseys from the NFL. And I'd known that part, but what I didn't know is they ship you every single jersey you purchase. So here it is.
Roll the clip.
$50,000 to change to 6.
Yeah.
What's that based off of?
How many jerseys
How many
they got,
jerseys they got?
Yeah, around the NFL.
And then you had a camp.
I did have a camp in the 48s. They did switch like a week later.
Dude, I went to his camp. And this dude comes out with a gazillion 48 jerseys. And I'm like, what the? He literally bought $150,000 worth of.
They give you the jersey?
Yeah, they give you all that stuff.
because they're
Ain't
like,
nothing they could do with it.
yeah, they're like, they can't sell it anymore now. So like,
So how many 48 jerseys do you have at home right now?
I think when they first shipped them, I think I had like 40 boxes. I think I got like 12 boxes now.
bro, them kids was wearing dresses, like, because it was kids of all ages. So like,
That's the thing is that like I ran out of like small sizes
Small,
quick, like
yeah.
just giving them kids. So now it's like all like adult.
That's awesome. Shout out to Jack and them. I mean, incredible content as always.
Yeah,
but-
it's Jack Settleman in the Punchline Pod with Marlon Humphrey. But I will say, double XL, it looks like a big jersey. I'll rock a Pat Queen. I'll hang a Pat Queen 48 in here.
We should cover
and
the
I
walls
also-
with Pat Queen 48 jerseys.
Or like just like have like some sort of mural.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Of all the jerseys of players that no longer have the number that they have.
This is
Yeah,
our people will reach out to your people.
Roquan.
So,
Roquan. How many jerseys is Roquan?
yeah.
And the other thing too, I appreciate this, like why the NFL does this, because obviously they're taking a huge hit. But what happens when a player gets traded?
So in that aspect, it's the NFL. There's nothing you
They
can
just
do
eat
about
those jerseys, though, right?
Yeah, but
Like,
actually, I wonder if the teams have to do it. There might be a thing with the teams.
Well, and also I think I would have to figure that out. But also, teams could still sell those jerseys technically because they didn't switch the numbers with the teams. He just switched the numbers with the specific team. He got traded. Like, I don't know exactly. That seems like that's an NFL problem because it's a transaction. You're acquiring a guy. That's a whole different story. But if you voluntarily want a different number, and things are already printed, that's what it is. But man, that's a shit ton of money.
The other thing is too that there's rumors flying around that like if Lamar wins the Super Bowl,
Yeah, he
he's
wants to go to
changing-
one.
Wants to go to one, and I think it was valued at like a $2.5 million
Yeah.
worth of jerseys he'd have to buy back to change his number to one. How absolutely insane is that?
That's insane. I mean, that'd be crazy because especially coming off a Super Bowl, so many people would want that jersey
Right.
because it's 8. So he could do some insane giveaways. But
Yeah.
literally, I mean, you have to think about it. If a guy, I'm not going to say that's less than, but let's say a Jalen Warren,
Right.
you know, who we've seen these fines that he's taken, have taken a lot of his game checks. Let's say next year he's like, you know what, I'm kind of like the lead back now. I want to change my number. They might offer him. They're like, yeah, dude, I don't think you can afford to buy your jerseys right now because if people are buying them, they have 100K in jersey sales. I don't know if Jalen Warren has 100K laying around right now that he can, especially after the fines they hit homie with.
I know.
Oh no, I mean I think everyone has different values. Numbers mean jerseys mean something different. I mean I had that when I people asked me when I played, did it matter? Like, you know, in the minors going up, and
What
everyone
was your
loves their
number?
jerseys. I had a lot of different numbers. I had, let's see, I had 17, 18, 8. Woof. I had to change
You
that.
did.
When
I
I
was
was
just about to
young.
ask if you ever went
When
8.
I was young, but it had Ryan on the back.
Oh.
Electric. When I was like, 9 years old. But then
Okay.
and then I kept 18 because I liked having the number 8 in there. But then like I was 35 when I played basketball, 35 one year in Delmarva and Frederick. Gosh, 58 is probably my favorite story because I didn't pick the jersey. And that's when a fan came to me and says, I know exactly, Ryan, why you picked 58. I know to a T.
Yep.
And that is, so I'd let them, I would love to hear your story because he's going to be very disappointed with my answer.
Yeah.
Because so anyway, he goes, all right, 8 is your dad, obviously. 5, Brooks Robinson. That's was your dad's favorite player growing up. This is where it gets fun. Then 8 minus 5 is 3, and that's my Uncle Bill's number. So hence 58 because you combine 3 people that are very important in your lives. And I might have hurt the guy's feelings, but I could see, I go like, damn, man, unbelievable. I went to give a fist bump. He goes, I got it right. I go, absolutely not. He goes, that couldn't be further wrong. But
You should have just given it to him.
well, no, I signed him. I think I gave a bat, took a photo, but I sat there and I said, and he goes, so what's the truth? I go, honestly, I was 245, and as the numbers go higher, you get the bigger jersey. So I had the big ass jersey tucked around. And that's how it was.
So Ryan's balking face is what got him the 58.
You can go by what phase Ryan's body was in by what number he wore. He's like, yeah, I wore 5, made it all the way up to 58. People are like, whoa. They're like, that was a tough offseason.
Well, hey,
for
my
Ryan.
last year I wore 11 in Norfolk.
Oh, good shit.
Go Tides, baby.
So you slimmed down?
I mean, you tell me.
Well, I'm just saying, like, was that part of it? Were
No. Well, honestly, why
did you
slim
try to
down?
get back down to 8?
Absolutely not. Oh gosh, they can have
You have
8.
to slim down to like, I have to get to 197 so I can fit into 8.
No.
I wonder if it's like also by like height, right? Because like B-Rob, Brian Roberts is number one.
Well,
now
I mean,
we figured it out. Everyone keeps thinking MLB players pick their numbers. It's all by size.
Well,
Ryan
no,
Ripken just broke the
well,
news.
it's by size, but like Gunnar Henderson's massive.
Yeah.
So they were like, "Oh, Gunnar, you want this jersey? Okay, well, we'll give you the double XL."
yeah, something
whatever the hell
tells
he
me in the
happens.
MLB you can get whatever.
You can get whatever you want, but as you're going up the
No,
ranks,
it makes sense why Judge is 99.
Just saying. But going through the minor leagues,
Yeah.
that's usually how it goes. It's by
Mhm.
jersey size for what you can fit into. Yeah, and honestly, the reason why I dropped more weight, I trained as hard as I usually did. I just maybe had a little bit cleaner of a diet, and I had more tequila.
Oh, that'll do it.
And for better or for worse, I became a tequila guy.
Liquid diet does it.
That's when he started hitting singles and not homers.
Yeah, that's why. Well, yeah, there's a lot of different reasons there. But hey, we're getting off topic too. But you mentioned something with Lamar Jackson. I wanted to close this up before we move on from this Ravens. This series in general with the Ravens has been great with the Chargers.
Yeah.
There's been some great moments here throughout. Do we have a few of those moments, Brad, from the games at all? Well, if we don't, we talked about earlier, Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews touchdown pass, his rookie year was an amazing moment. How about Ray Rice? This was the the team or this matchup. Ray Rice 4th and 29, big play. How about Ray Lewis with the big stop on 4th and 2 to solidify Ravens win? And unfortunately, it's not all happy, sunshines and rainbows for the Ravens. They did lose the playoff game to LA here, which turned out to be a really entertaining game, even though the Ravens turned the ball over a lot and were trailing essentially from the jump. But this game's going to be tougher, I think, than people might expect. And not having Mark Andrews, man, it hurts. And there's
got the little hey dildo as it is
Hey dildo.
extremely blurry.
Incredible.
I just want to say enough time has
Rice
passed
has done it a first down for the
where
Ravens with
as a Ravens fan, enough time has passed. I'm okay with admitting Anquan Bolden got away with the most illegal block in the back on that.
Oh, I would have said that today, nowadays, you're suspended probably for 8 years.
Kareem Jackson does that. They are arresting him on the field.
Yeah. But that hit, Anquan Bolden, man, did doing the dirty work constantly and then being the guy. And that's why those moments, you got to have someone in those moments come up big. It was Ray Rice, Anquan Bolden. We've seen who's going to be that guy for the Ravens moving forward with Mark Andrews out. And I know there was the report, right, Brad, that there was an outside chance that Mark Andrews could come back. Am I correct with that?
Yeah, that's right. So he hairline fracture or cracked his fibula and then fibbed one of them.
Yeah, so
and then tore his ligament in his ankle. And actually, you actually had a similar injury minus the cracked fibula.
Yeah, I don't know the exact extent of what the ankle injury is, but when you get surgery, you're repairing.
Right.
It's ligament repair. And the crack, I can't explain to that, but ligament, if you tear it, so I tell people grade 1, sprain, grade 2, grade 3. Grade 1 and grade 2, when you hear the word sprain, first off, you guys don't think, oh, okay, like it's fine, got stretched out. A grade 3 sprain, which they haven't even diagnosed that as, that's a tear. That's a tear of the ligament. So Lamar last year, by the way, when he had a grade 2 or 3, that means he was on the borderline of having a tear, or he did in his PCL.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a serious type of injury. For Mark, though, man, the good thing is for me personally, like you can recover. It's going to take time to get used to it. And for playing baseball, you don't have to do as much cutting and moving. That's going to be the hardest part for Mark, is going to be cutting, being comfortable. And there's going to be some rigidness to his movements. So that's why I'm not expecting it. That took me months.
Yeah. So the timeline that they have, I guess it hasn't been officially said, but from what I've been seeing, I guess hinted at by bigger, like the ESPNs and stuff, is it is an 8 to 12 week process, meaning that's if everything goes well, he's back in 8 to 12 weeks. The AFC Championship is in 9. The Super Bowl is in 11. So this is saying if everything goes perfect, no setbacks, nothing, he can maybe be 80% if you get to the Super Bowl. So this is still very much, yes, it's a bright spot. Yeah, it looks like it's not as bad as we thought, but Mark Andrews isn't walking out here week 15.
No.
Like that's not happening.
Well, so you brought up that point then. For me, the diagnosis just on me getting surgery, the earliest was 3 to 4 months. So I got surgery the first week of April.
Yeah.
And then I was back playing, starting to play in games, I think a couple innings at the end of July. So I was on the earlier end, and mine is not as probably complicated as Mark's. So that puts it at what, 3.5 months?
Yeah.
3.5 months, 4 months. So that the timeline is 12 weeks. That's very possible. But this is going to be football. They're playing for a chance at the Super Bowl. I think we could see Mark.
Yeah. If the Ravens make the Super Bowl and Mark Andrews is over 70%, he's out there. I think that's just the competitor in him. There's no chance after he and Lamar, from the second they've got here, it was, we won a Super Bowl. We don't care about individual awards. We want a Super Bowl. If they get there and he is physically able to play, the doctors are like, he's not going to be the best, but he's able to play. There's not a doubt in my mind. Mark Andrews is out there.
We'll find out. Yeah. It's not going to be to end this regular season. So they're going to have to find out who's going to be the next guy stepping up. Is likely going to have the expanded role, Kohler, or is a guy like Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers,
Rashad,
and OBJ.
Yeah.
So we'll see. This is why they had a more revamped receiving room, right? You wanted depth. Well, the depth's really going to be put into question now without your top guy in there. All right, so we're working backwards here today. So we talked Ravens preview of it with Rocco. So if you guys are just tuning in, hello. Happy Wednesday, happy Thanksgiving Eve, Friendsgiving, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Black Wednesday, isn't that a thing? It's like Blackout Wednesday.
Yeah, because like it's the
You go to the bar.
the
Yeah.
bars like what's the busiest day of the year?
Yeah.
Oh,
for
it's
bars-
absurd.
Bars,
I'll see everyone in Fed Hill tonight.
We get it.
restaurants.
All right.
Get after it.
I will not be there. I've spent too much time down there. It's
Yeah.
your time to shine. Brucey's time to shine.
Thanks. I'm so happy to take the torch.
There you go. Well, hey, we're going to move on to what's spicy, but if you're tuning into this, you can go back and rewatch. We had Rocco DeSangro on. He's going, getting more reports on the Baltimore Ravens. But hey, guys, there's a lot of things that kind of happened here that we think are really spicy. We think that you guys would love to hear about as well. Starting at the top, Cam Newton, kind of fell off the last couple of years, and we can kind of see if his play, he wasn't playing as well.
Right.
The opportunities weren't arising. He had that moment where I'm back in Carolina and then realized not
wasn't
really
back.
not really back. And there was conversations on the Dan Patrick Show about that he wasn't getting the calls. And if someone really wanted you, they'd call. But the really big talking point, Brad, was that Cam Newton was asked by Dan Patrick if he thought he was a Hall of Fame player in the NFL.
Yeah, and I thought that his response was rather interesting. I would love to talk about this after we play the clip. So here goes.
Famer in your eyes?
Ooh, Dan, you taking me to school right now, ain't you? The legend.
I want you to learn. I want you to learn.
Oh my God, you are taking me to broadcasting for dummies right now.
Are you a Hall of Famer?
Hell yeah.
Okay, all right.
Now, for me, my impact to the game. Oh, let me ask you this. What's more important, impact or championships? You, Dan Patrick, would you rather have a Robert Ory's career, right, or an Allen Iverson career?
I'd rather be AI
Why?
because that's longevity, cultural. He changed the game. He changed the game in a lot of ways. How you look, what you wear, how you play. He never cheated me. Robert Ory had, 10, 15, unbelievable moments and won 7 titles. But Allen Iverson was a badass from start to finish.
Yes, sir. So I will ask you this question.
What would you take? You want Robert Ory winning championships, or you want Allen Iverson, who played in one NBA final?
So you're sitting up here telling me in a lot of ways, shape, form, I am Allen Iverson. I only played in one Super Bowl.
Yeah, you
I lost.
culturally, start to finish, polarizing. But you know what? I knew that when you were in the game.
So even to that point, and what do we teach student athletes now? Be a team player. Yes, you want to be a team player, but also you must understand sports has so many different determining factors in it for you to be a team player. Let's take certain field goals going either way, certain rules being in place. Does Tom Brady still have as many championships as he has, or Super Bowls that he has, right?
Adam Vinatieri helped you. Yes.
Exactly. That's my point. So there's so many different things that you could do, but yet still come up short. So if you're asking me, the original question is Cam Newton a Hall of Famer? My impact to this game is without a doubt seen, right? So that's that point. Even to the situation we saw last night, Patrick Mahomes can do everything in his right to try to make the team win, but you still
can't make you catch it.
You can't make them catch. You can't make people blocking. You can't make a defensive unit stop the opposing team either.
All right, so there's a lot to unpack here. One of them, Cam Newton just compared himself to Allen Iverson.
That was crazy. I laughed a little bit.
Yes, I heard
when he said, "You're saying I am Allen Iverson."
The other thing is that Cam Newton said that he belongs in the Hall of Fame. Third thing is that hat was absolutely insane,
incredible.
But it wasn't. What I will say is that I think that there is a compelling argument for Cam Newton to actually be in the Hall of Fame. He was an MVP. He was in the Super Bowl. had incredible numbers at the peak of his career. His rookie season was absolutely insane as well. So I'm not going to say that he doesn't belong. I don't think he's like first ballot Hall of Famer. I think that it's going to take him some time to get in there. But I do think that he eventually gets in based off of a lot of his accolades. But to sit here and also be like, well, I was a team player, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I don't know about that either. He was quite the showman on that front too. It was so I don't. You didn't see him getting a whole lot of love to Steve Smith Sr. most of the time. So just all that put aside, I do think that there is an argument for Cam Newton to actually go into the Hall of Fame. But again, not sure he's going to be that first ballot dude.
No, I agree. I think you hit the nail on the head perfectly there. Is he a unanimous first-time Hall of Famer that it's like he, easily gets in? No, I don't think it's going to be that. But I think eventually they let Cam Newton in. And I don't want to say let him in, but at the same time, it does kind of feel like that because I think a lot of people look at the final 2-3 years of Cam Newton, and they forget about the first 5. They forget about the first, 6 of how dominant he was.
It was ridiculous.
There was nothing that man. I mean, we watch Jalen Hurts right now, and yeah, Jalen Hurts has some incredible moments and everything, but just passed or tied Cam Newton for most rushing touchdowns in the first 4 years. I think it was 16 or 17 of Jalen Hurts' touchdown rushes have been inside the 1 yard line. So a tush push. The way that Cam Newton, he would body these linebackers and he didn't care what happened to his body. And in a lot of ways might be the reason that a running quarterback is seen as, can this be sustainable?
Right.
Because when Cam Newton was playing, he literally was the definition of, I don't care. I'm putting my body on the line.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think this is where we're getting to nowadays, right? And we see it with every different sport. And Baseball Hall of Fame just announced their ballot for this year, right? And you're looking at it and going, well, players aren't having as long of careers as people normally would. And now it's okay, well, how great are you for so long? But there was two things I look at with athletes. Longevity does matter. But then how great were you during the time then that you could play? Because some things are cut short and you don't have it can be unfortunate, it can be a fall off, but injuries do play a big part. I don't know for Cam where I stand with it, but to your point, did Cam Newton change the slide of how quarterbacks are perceived? Yeah. Absolutely. Look at the game now.
Right.
There are so many more dual threat quarterbacks. The pocket, the traditional simple pocket passer is now being viewed as not the outlier. There's plenty of those around the league, but Patrick Mahomes is not just a pocket passer. He's incredible in the pocket, but he's very mobile.
It's limited. It's now seen as limited. Let's look at Brock Purdy. People see him. He's a perfect example of 15 years ago. He is the perfect quarterback. 15, 20 years ago, sit back, read the defense, do it. Get to the receiver. But like you're saying, now it's seen as, wait, so if everything goes right, he can't run for 20 yards? Okay, that's a disadvantage for us.
Yeah, but I also look at it when we're looking at comparing the Allen Iverson to Cam Newton part. Allen Iverson was one of the best players to ever play. For Cam Newton, he's not one of the best quarterbacks that ever played, but he did transform the NFL. So what do you do there? That's my biggest point. He had an unbelievable MVP season, an unbelievable rookie season. He had unbelievable moments as a player, but is that going to translate? Because I'm looking at guys like Lamar Jackson now. Lamar's numbers of what he's doing on pace and what he's capable of, even the win-loss record, Cam Newton's got 75 wins. He's 75-68 as a starting quarterback. And I'm not saying that wins and losses the team, but winning does matter too.
Yes.
And if you're not winning, your numbers have to be ridiculously good. Like stupid good.
What, Lamar's maybe 2 years away from passing Cam Newton in wins?
So here's the thing. Lamar's 53-19 as we're talking about this right now. Okay. He's also then this year he's 8-3. Lamar has 113 passing touchdowns on his career to 43 interceptions. Cam Newton for his career had 194 touchdowns to 123 interceptions. Cam Newton ran for over 5,000 yards and 75 touchdowns. The rushing yards are what's really going to help Cam.
Yeah.
But But at the same point, like that's going to be, I'm with you guys. I don't know if it's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And also, by the way, just to give context, Robert Horry played longer than Allen Iverson, by the way. I understand that the point of it, Horry played for a while, but he didn't have, he wasn't Iverson with the crossover and the cultural change. No doubt about that. But
Quick thing.
He's got more rings than Michael Jordan, but nobody puts him in that conversation.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And to Rick with here, like Randall, it did start with Randall. Randall was the first kind of one where everyone did. But look after that. Mike Vick came to the league, and still people don't look at the mobile quarterbacks after the fact of going,
he was seen as an anomaly.
Well, people don't look at them as even as winners. Like this style of play isn't sustainable. And so that was a part for me when I would look at it constantly. I thought Randall Cunningham, when I go back, first off in Madden, if it's not Mike Vick, playing with Randall Cunningham is absurd.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. But still, he didn't change that type of narrative. I only mentioned Cam Newton because it felt like after him, it was, and I'll make the argument, even more Lamar Jackson now. But before that, it was Cam Newton. Then you felt like RG3 was going to be right there. And then RG3's career dropped off, and then there was that question again.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating. We could talk about this forever on what happens, but Cam Newton did have an impact. The hat is fucking ridiculous. But I love, hey, you know what? I love his style. He's smoking a stogie there. He's having a good time. And Dan Patrick's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Just like,
I love that. I love it.
I thought that conversation, I thought Cam also, by the way, this wasn't a knocking with Cam. I thought Cam had, that was a great conversation.
There's a few bucket list shows that I would like to appear on. Dan Patrick's one of them. It's Rich Eisen, because that's just idol of mine. And then also, of course, Pat McAfee. But I mean, Dan Patrick and Rich Eisen, those guys are like the OGs.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, hey, we'll switch gears then to another talking point with another talking head right now who has been very successful. Maybe it will be more outlandish on First Take where he hosts. That's Stephen A. Smith. But on his own show, and we said we like Stephen A. It's not about that. He does have great conversations. He has great guests.
He's just hardly ever right.
Well, when it's on First Take, there's a lot going on there. A lot.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what, he had Tom Brady on his show, and Tom Brady, who we can all agree, best quarterback we've ever seen, greatest quarterback of all time. What do you got?
No,
you're not going to say
different conversation.
Okay, well, he is. If we're going to say, I'm going to say Tom Brady. But anyway, the point being is Tom Brady had a very interesting perspective on how he's viewing the NFL from a player's perspective and how it's being coached right now. So let's take a listen.
There's a lot of mediocrity in today's NFL. I don't see the excellence that I saw in the past.
Why not?
And
why not?
I think the coaching isn't as good as it was. I don't think the development of young players is as good as it was. The rules have allowed a lot of bad habits to get into the actual performance of the game. So I just think the product, in my opinion, is less than what it's been. I look at a lot of players like Ray Lewis and Rodney Harrison and Ronnie Lott and guys that impacted the game in a certain way. And every hit they would have made would have been a penalty. You hear coaches complaining about their own player being tackled and not necessarily, why don't they talk to their player about how to protect himself? We used to work on the fundamentals of those things all the time. Now they're trying to be regulated all the time. Offensive players need to protect themselves. It's not up to the defensive player to protect the offensive player. A defensive player needs to protect himself. I didn't throw the ball to certain areas because I was afraid players were going to get knocked out. That's the reality. Wow. I didn't throw it to the middle when I played Ray Lewis because you knock him out of the game, and I couldn't afford to lose a good player.
Oh, my.
I feel like I know where you're going with this, and I just want to get my point in.
Yeah.
This is all Tom Brady's fucking fault.
It is. You are the reason, the rules are made for the offensive. The rule was made so you would be protected.
Ever since he had that that blown out knee.
Bernard Pollard.
Yep.
Bernard Pollard ruined the NFL because as soon as you touch the golden boy Tom Brady in his peak, no more hitting.
Well, in that case, it was a low hit on that. It was tumbled into, and we talked. There's so many. different
Bernard
ways.
Pollard's hit was definitely like totally illegal. It should not.
It shouldn't have happened. But so yes, we do know there was a lot of rules changed. The tuck rule, everything. So Brady, everyone's gonna be like, "What the hell?" Tom Brady had the rules changed for him. But I love that answer at the end right there. That there was fear and a game plan. He didn't want to throw over the middle because if someone got concussed, someone got knocked out of the game, that hurts their chances of winning. So he has to strategically plan. I get it. You got to be safer. But don't you think it's interesting now? The other part I liked him talking about was how players are being coached up in the perspective. Like Tom didn't hold back.
Yeah.
And it's not like he just was removed from the NFL. I mean, he just retired the past year.
Yeah, but you didn't see him during gameplay where, while he was playing the game, complaining about how the NFL is getting soft, because he was the benefactor of a lot of those penalties. So like, I understand what he's saying and he's not wrong, but at the same time, he was part of the problem.
Oh, well, I think he was part of the problem, but I think everyone started to realize that the quarterback drives money, and the fact that Tom Brady was on the best team for 2 decades and he was the face in every single way. Yeah. Like I get it. His coming from him, I get what you guys are saying, but I also do understand the style of play of guys like Roquan. We talk about the Ravens has that dog. People are afraid to get hit. He has that mentality. Screw it.
Yep.
I'm going full speed. I'm playing the way.
Mhm.
But back then it was serious. Like it was and I think that's what Tom was also trying to say. If rules need to change perspective wise, stop trying to look for, it's ironic that he's saying stop trying to look for calls, but at some point you got to have to coach it up differently.
Right.
And let's just face it. Is this fair to say, guys? There are so many more penalties now that feel like they're altering games more than there used to be.
Yeah.
Right. Take out the tuck rule, take out that. But I'm just talking about from hits, even the Kareem Jackson situation.
Yeah.
That hit wasn't flagged. It should be a flag. Broncos recover. That's a field goal. The Broncos win by 1.
Right. Yeah. So there is truth to that. And I do agree. What one thing that I strongly agree with Tom Brady on in that was that the coaching and the level of play just hasn't been there. And we've talked about this, right? Like there aren't that many good quarterbacks right now in the NFL. They're just not there. I probably could name 5 quarterbacks that I would trust on any team. And maybe that's it. I don't, we haven't really seen that. And it might even come down to 3 that I would trust. But, so 10, 12 years ago, it was probably around 10 or 15 that you're like, yep, that's the guy, that's their franchise guy, might not be at that elite status of a Peyton Manning or Drew Brees or what have you, but they were good enough to get their team to win. I just don't know if there's that many quarterbacks right now that can do that. So I 100% agree that there is some sort of issue with, I don't know if it's lack of talent. Tom Brady kind of touched on lack of coaching. Maybe that's it. But, man, it definitely is a lesser product right now than it has been in years past.
Yeah, it's interesting. We talk nowadays, everyone's saying, well, everyone's bigger, stronger, faster. So I wouldn't say talent, but the chess game that you used to play, that's Tom was talking about playing chess. Yeah. Ray Lewis on the other side, Ed Reed. We've heard the clips about Ed Reed intentionally with Peyton Manning doing the wrong play on a game film so he could try to trick Peyton into making that play the following week.
Intercepted it.
And that's so methodical. Ray Lewis knowing what you're doing, but also that Ray Lewis's presence impacts what you do.
Yeah.
That is different a little bit from what it is now. But hey, it's a topic, but the NFL's trying to get safer. They have to. No one blames them for it. But hey, and I don't think anyone blames the Pittsburgh Steelers for firing Matt Canada. And I think a lot of people thought it should have happened 5 weeks ago. But the Steelers were winning games, and it didn't seem like a problem. Then this Browns-Steelers game happened, worst game that we've seen in a while.
Ever.
And all of a sudden, they make a move. And if I'm not mistaken, Zach, they now have 2 offensive coordinators.
Yeah, they're trying to run, I guess. Mike Sullivan, the quarterback's coach, is going to be doing the bulk, how they love saying the bulk of the play calling. But he's also getting help from Eddie Faulkner, the running back coach. So I would say it's technically kind of like a coordinator by committee, but it does seem like Mike Sullivan's going to be calling the plays. And this just puts so much pressure on Kenny Pickett. And this isn't even, we have guys like Dan Orlovsky talking about this, where it's the scheme was so bad where now it's in the situation of Kenny Pickett. This is kind of the last chance for him because it has not been good. And this is that moment where now it's, okay, was it Matt Canada? If Kenny Pickett shows even just steps towards, this is the guy we thought we were getting, I think it completely changes how the Steelers view their position as a franchise with their quarterback, what their offseason is. So
yeah, I mean, we got a couple people. You brought up Dan Orlovsky, then Ryan Clark. We actually have a little video of them talking about this. So Brad, I think you have it. And also before that point, you made the point, Brad, and you can start this video. Kenny Pickett has the lowest touchdown percentage to pass attempts.
Yes.
What was that number again?
1.9%. That's the lowest since the merger.
That's incredible. And again, we're going to find out more. But hey, take a listen to here as we have a couple breakdowns of what just transpired with Pittsburgh.
All right, we got to figure out if this is Kenny Pickett or if this has been the offense as a whole before we go further as a football program.
Yeah, so it's the right move. It's the necessary move. And that's not like, we all understand firing people isn't fun. The reality is, if I don't, produce for ESPN, they're going to fire me too. So that's just the nature. We all know that getting into the real world, that's part of it. So, but it was the necessary move. Wow. There's too many instances where this offense, and you guys have had me layer out the predictability, the lack of explosion, the never creating an advantage. Like there's so many flaws within this scheme. Okay. So at some point you have to sit there and say, are we helping the players or not? I think that's what it really comes down to. Were they ever creating an advantage for the players? More often than not, that answer was no. So you have to move on. I think this is a little bit of, hey, Kenny Pickett, and if you were going to ask me, like, what's the one thing that Kenny Pickett has to do now? Kenny Pickett is going to have to, in however many games they have left, I think 6, he's 7, he's going to have to prove that he is willing and able to throw the ball past 5 yards down the field well.
Facts.
I mean, hey, there's no lies being spoken there. So this is what we're going to figure out. And Dan, it's great hearing from a quarterback's perspective.
Yeah.
So we'll dive all into this, but we have one more clip, correct, about with Ryan Clark.
Yeah.
So Dan talked about it from this point of production. Now, Ryan Clark is going to give a little bit of different angle that we'll react to on the other side.
But sometimes it is addition by subtraction. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have now subtracted what they need to subtract. Yeah, we went to Cleveland and got beat by a guy that we just know by 3 letters, DTR. But we have gone from Canada to America. Matt Canada is no longer the offensive coordinator. We're not just going to throw the ball to the sideline and play wish football. I wish we scored a touchdown. We're going to run the football better with Jaylen Warren. We're going to use the middle of the field now that Freiermuth is healthy. And at the least, we're going to put an offense on the field that looks like an NFL offense, and then TJ Watt and the boys can go crazy on defense. So I know y'all want to sit around here and talk about, Kansas City, Buffalo if they get in. What about if we get in, Chan?
It's going to be a
we
fun
got
week.
6
it's
championships.
It's going to be a fun week.
Agree with everything he said up until the last thing.
Yeah.
I just don't think they have enough talent on the offensive side to be but everything else, 100%. I mean, that both of them said, both Orlovsky and Ryan Clark went in on how they didn't ever bring up, I guess, anything that pointed to the players. They just tore apart the scheme. And these are guys that know the schemes and in depth have watched this film. And Orlovsky, both were like disgusted by the scheme, how they're not using guys to go to the inside. They're only throwing these 5 yards to the out. And I think that was one of those biggest things I took away from that was from a player standpoint. A lot of guys will go in when something like this happens and goes, yeah, but it wasn't all them. Like the players have to make plays. They were blatantly saying he didn't put them in position to make plays. There were no plays to be made by what he was calling. So that's where now we're in the position of, like Orlovsky said, hey, Kenny, can you prove to us that you can be this quarterback? Or when we're on the clock in the first round this year, do we need to consider Michael Penix in them?
Yeah,
it's true. I mean, hey, you know what the other part, they brought up a name, or Pat Freiermuth.
Yeah.
Dude's a good tight end. I know he's been injured this year, and I was looking up to make sure because we try to get our stats right here. We try. But Freiermuth had 732 receiving yards last year. That was third best on the team.
How many games was that in?
And he played 16. Right?
So missed a game. Oh, yeah.
So, but this year, he's played in 5 games. He's had a lot of injuries. Do you guys want to guess how many yards in 5 games for Freiermuth?
He probably doesn't even have 100.
That's correct. He has 9 catches for 60 yards. A guy that was third on your team in receiving yards with 732. And again, tight ends aren't supposed to. We get used to Kelsey and Mark Andrews and Kittle, who have been eclipsing 1,000 yards or approaching it, whatever it may be. Having 700 yards for a tight end is very, very good.
Yes.
And Freiermuth opens up the middle of the field, and they haven't used him.
No, they haven't,
at all. So I'm baffled there because I'm sitting there and going, man,
my jaw dropped. I had no clue.
George Pickens hasn't. He has the best playmaker on your team. You're not feeding him the ball. I don't understand what's going on there either.
Well, and that's another case with George Pickens. He had a stretch of 2 games where he had 130 and 107 back to back. He had another 100-yard game the second week of the season against the Browns. But here's his stat since his last big game against the Rams. You guys ready for this? 1 catch for 22 yards, 2 catches for -1 against the Titans on Thursday night, 3 catches for 45 against the Pack, and 4 catches for 38 yards.
Well, and that one game against the Browns was that big chunk of that was a 73-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
Just one play. So you can kind of almost take that away too.
Yeah. So you're looking at that and going, Deontay Johnson's a fantastic route runner. He had problems with drops. George Pickens, talented player.
Yeah.
Jalen Warren and Najee Harris, and when we're talking about this more and Freiermuth, they got some guys.
Yeah.
They actually sneakily might have one of the better packages of weapons on their team. If you're looking at it, two solid running backs. You can say what you want about Najee, but Bruiser, explosive,
2 very solid running backs.
Yeah.
2 solid wide receivers, and you have a solid tight end. And yet the Steelers are one of the worst offenses. So it should be good. What we were talking about this earlier before the show, Orlovsky then brought it up. The production, if you don't play well or you don't coach well, someone loses their job.
Yeah.
Canada lost his job. Pickett's job's on the line moving forward. But what's their upcoming schedule? Because it's the easiest in the AFC North.
It's
disgusting. So it's Bengals,
without
Arizona,
Burrow, obviously.
Without Burrow, right? So that should be an easier game for them. Arizona, which Kyler Murray's been back, so they've been a different team since then. New England, that should be a walkthrough. Indianapolis has been, they've been on and off too, so that should be a winnable game for the Steelers if they do everything right. Cincinnati again, Seattle, and then us, the Baltimore Ravens. So it's easy. They could easily win 10 games going into the end of the season.
I don't think it should be legal for any broadcast station to be able to morally play any Patriots quarterback on that roster currently versus the Steelers defense, because that is going to be horrific to watch. That Patriots offense is so bad. Maybe Bailey Zappi helps them, but Mac Jones or him versus that defense is going to be Patriots or Steelers. Even if Kenny Pickett doesn't take that next step, can win that 21-0 off 3 defenses.
That might be the worst viewed game of all time.
Yeah, that's going to be bad.
Well, and here's the other part of this, because I wanted to pull this up for context, and then we'll move on because we got a couple more things we need to touch on, fellas. The Steelers going into this game, they are 28th in the NFL in points, 16.6 points per game. The only teams below them, Carolina, the Jets, New England, and the Giants. The Giants in New England having really rough years. The Jets now, the wheels are starting to fall off there, and Carolina, it speaks for themselves. So you're looking at how far they are down, and they're 6-4.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. And then for Cleveland's sake, and we already talked about Baltimore still got to play San Fran, Jacksonville. You got to play the Chargers. You got to play the Dolphins, and you got Pittsburgh again. The Browns got to go play hot Mr. Unlimited and Danger Russ out in Denver. They got to play the Jags, the Texans. Those are some tough games for Cleveland.
Yeah.
The Pittsburgh could sneak in, but they're going to have to figure things out offensively.
Listen, they got Joe Flacco now, so.
Flacker.
Hey, the irony if Joe comes back and then Baltimore leaves Cleveland, wins a championship, and then Joe goes to Cleveland to help Cleveland win a championship, that would just be wild to me. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. But anyway,
listen, January Joe, man.
January Joe is just, he's built different. But it's something that everyone, it's going to be very interesting to watch. This AFC North, AFC in general is just wild.
Yeah.
Just absolutely insane. I think that wraps up with our spicy, unless I'm missing anything, fellas.
No.
All right. Well, we want to do, because we're not doing a lot of the previews moving forward, so we're going to go through our quick picks. Brad, you want to run us through of our segment? Like, it's for anyone that's new to it. Well, hey, happy Friendsgiving, Thanksgiving if you're new to the channel. We try to do this quick. We're not trying to be guys at a bar doing analysis here. The bigger part is it's a lot of games, and we're just trying to get through them and make our picks. We'll have our dogs of the week. We'll talk about stuff, but we have a 40-second clock we're going to put on. Correct, Brad?
Yeah. You got that?
Yeah.
Zach's got the. Hold on. There we go. I was trying to find. I need like a good website to just consistently pull these off of, because like every time I try to find them, it's always something different.
Well, you can search NFL schedule and just
I do, but it's always,
pop it down to Google.
I always like to find the money line. All right, so yeah, here we go. You ready? You ready, Zach?
Yep, let's roll.
All right. Thursday, November 23rd. That is tomorrow. We have the Packers at Lions. Lions are favored by 7.5 points. Now, Packers coming off of a big game. We've seen Jordan Love have some really bright spots against the Chargers. Obviously, the Chargers aren't the Lions, but what do we think about this one? It's a division game.
I'm going Packers. I'm going to go Packers just because.
Ooh, dog of the week.
Yeah, because Lions like always lose on Thanksgiving. Like no matter what, like they just always lose on Thanksgiving.
They did. They all had that chance to win last week. I'm going to go Detroit, though. I think that was a close test. I think they're going to play better. I don't love the fact that Aaron Jones is out for them too. I just think Detroit finds a way.
I don't love that either, but I'm going Packers on this one because of what Zach had said, and also the way the Lions played against the Bears. I think there's something to that. Something might have been exposed. Also, it's a division opponent. So I'm going to go Packers on this one. Next is going to be Commanders at Cowboys.
Quick thing. Lions have not won on Thanksgiving since 2016. So
damn,
that's
crazy. Well, they completely different Lions team now. But anyways, we got Commanders at Cowboys. Cowboys are favored by 11 points. I think this was an easy one to predict. I'm going Cowboys all the way. That spread's a bit much, I thought. I think they gave them a lot of points, but nevertheless, Cowboys take this one.
Yeah, Cowboys.
It's got to be Cowboys. I hope it's a more entertaining game. It seems like Washington always plays more competitive games against competitive teams.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a hopefully closer game, but Dallas wins it.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have 49ers at Seahawks. This is going to be a great game. 49ers are favored by 7 points. I like the points there.
Mm-hmm.
Total points 43. I'm going to probably take the under on that, but I'm taking 49ers.
I'm taking Niners too. I think Brock is back. Those boys are going to be buzzing. And if Geno's banged up and they got to go against that front seven, I still think I know it's a division game, but I think San Francisco can cover this at -7.
I don't know if Brock's back, but those weapons damn are. And as long as he can keep getting the ball to Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, and George Kittle, and Brandon Ayuk.
Ayuk's a stud.
Yeah. As long as he can just not mess up and get the ball to them, they win this easy.
Yeah, Ayuk went bananas last week. First time ever there's a Black Friday football game, fellas, and it is the Dolphins at the Jets. Dolphins are favored by 10 points. This is going to be interesting. It is another division game. These are all some great games, I think, because they're all division games so far. This is this might be another dog type of game. I'm taking Jets on this one, just because fluky things happen in the AFC East.
I want to take them as the dog of the week, but
they just struggle against some really good defenses. Talking about the Dolphins, so I'm just
that's why I'm looking. I think the Jets are 100% covering this game.
Yeah,
and this is the Boyle era. You know what? Dog of the week. Give me the Jets at home.
Boom,
Boyle.
Yeah.
I'm Boyle.
I'm all in. I'm all in on.
We in on this?
Tim Boyle.
Why not? Why not change it up here?
Why not Tim?
If it's not Zach, why not Tim?
Why not Tim?
That's right.
All right. Next one.
Next up, we got Saints at Falcons. Saints are favored by 1 point. Another division game. This is going to be something that will be close to watch. I'm going to take the Saints on this one, but they're going to be without their star wide receiver.
Can we call him a star wide receiver anymore?
I mean, he's still the number one guy, right?
Well, Chris Olave still is, but they don't throw him the ball nearly enough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're about to.
I hope so.
Saints again are favored by one point. I'm going to take the Saints on this one.
I trust the Saints kind of more. Desmond Ritter's back starting for the Falcons. And I just feel like the Falcons find more ways to not maybe utilize their weapons enough. They are giving Bijan Robinson the ball, but I think the Saints are going to do a little bit more. They still have Kamara. They have Olave. Give me the Saints.
Yeah, I'm going Saints. I just think they're the better team here.
Can't believe you didn't take the dog of the week on the Falcons. Next up, we got Steelers at Bengals. Bengals are favored here by 1 point. Look, this is going to be an interesting one. Flip a coin. I don't know. I'm just going to take Bengals, I guess.
You know what? It's if they didn't make this coaching change, I probably would say Cincy. But I think there's going to be a little bit more energy with Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh wins this game.
I hate this game. I just don't like this game.
No one has to like it. And surely
give me. I'm not picking. I'm taking the under 34.5. That's just what I'm doing.
Just not to. Okay. All right. Fine. Jaguars at Texans. Teams. Jaguars are favored by 1.5. This game I am looking forward to. One of the more exciting games, I think. You got CJ Stroud, who I think is an MVP candidate. Obviously, the Jaguars are on one too. So I'm going to take the Texans on this one. I'm taking the underdog here by 1.5.
For the division. This is for the division.
For the division lead. So if the Texans,
okay, yeah.
If the Texans win this game, they win the series for the season. They would have swept Jacksonville.
Yeah, so I'm taking them again.
And that would then even their record moving forward.
Taking the Texans at home.
Texans at home. I want CJ Stroud and the Texans to win so badly, but I'm going to take Jacksonville because Houston won in Jacksonville. I think that they're going to come back. Trevor Lawrence was fantastic last week.
As a proud Stroud boy, have to go Stroud. Texans, baby.
I love Stroud, man. He is my guy. We've talked about him a ton.
Since week one.
I want him to win. Like, I want him to. Yeah. But sometimes
every press conference he has makes me love him. Maybe.
How do you not want that guy to win?
Yeah.
And also, the dude is ridiculous. We're going to talk about MVP discussions in a second. He's definitely in the conversation, but give me the Jags in this one.
Yeah. Next up, we got Patriots at Giants, the suck bowl of the week. Patriots are favored by 3.5. I'm going to take the Patriots on this one.
Oh, my goodness. Zach, go ahead.
Give me the veto. Give me the Giants.
Oh,
stay hot, kid. Stay hot.
I am going. I'm taking the Giants as well. Give me
the Giants.
Give me the Giants. I think that their defense it's so hit or miss, but it's going to be what's the philosophy? Big movie guy, pass it to the Italians.
Yeah. Let the Italian pass it.
Let Tommy D pass it and give the ball to Saquon 35 times. I think that they win this game.
All right. Next up, we have Panthers at Titans. Another suck bowl here. Titans are favored by 3.5. Gonna take the Titans on this one, but not a game I'm interested in watching.
No chance interested in watching this game. But I'm with you. I think Titans and Derrick Henry's been quiet a little bit. That might change.
Yeah.
I like the Panthers in this actually, and it's because towards the end of last week, I actually somehow, with the Ravens not playing, was watching just Red Zone and stuff. So I started seeing some things from the Panthers towards the end, the way they were moving the football, the way they were conducting the offense under Reich now. I like what they're doing. I'm going to go.
Chuba Hubbard, I think, had a career high in rushing yards that game. So, interesting. All right, so we got Rams at Cardinals. Cardinals are favored by 1 point. I'm going to take the Cardinals. Kyler Murray just looks – the team looks way different with Kyler Murray on there. He's not back to original form, and neither is the team. But the Rams are kind of a mess. I'm still going to take the Cardinals on this one.
If Stafford plays, give me the Rams. I think Kyron Williams is coming back this week, or the hope is for him to come back. So they'll get their guy. They released Darrell Henderson Jr. And if Cup's out, it's Puka time again. Puka time. I think the Rams win it.
I gotta go Cardinals. I like how their offense looks with Kyler. Only thing is, I wish they would have the little music going every time he runs with his little legs across the field, but we can do that after.
Hasn't really liked Kyler being back is Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
No, for some reason. Like, what is going on, buddy? Isn't that your best friend?
Yeah.
He's had 3 catches for a combined 46 yards in 2 games.
Yeah.
Glad I traded for Hollywood thinking he was going to get targeted.
Next up, we got Browns at Broncos. I'm taking the Broncos here. Broncos are favored by 2.5 points. I think the Broncos actually could do better. But the over, I'm going to take the over here. 35.5 points total.
Ooh, that is
I'm going to take the over on that one. I think that
in the Mile High.
Yeah.
And in this economy, if PJ Walker starts, I would take the Browns, but I don't think he is, right?
I don't know. They're going to stick with DJ.
Joe Flacco.
And Joe's not ready either. Give me Russ. They win 5 in a row and they go over 500.
Give me the Broncos and the over. I'm now in love with this over now, thinking about, because Mile High Stadium, it's going to be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how the Browns defense holds up with the altitude and stuff. It'll be weird to see if that impacts them at all.
All right, so it's going to be 13-10 again, or this over is going to get crushed and it's going to be 38.
It's going to be like
30.
3-2.
Yeah. Next up, we have Chiefs at Raiders. Chiefs are favored by 9. Chiefs just lost to the Eagles. Chiefs have really struggled against good defensive teams. They coughed out the ball against the Eagles twice. Travis Kelce fumbled a ball. Patrick Mahomes threw an interception in the end zone on that game. The Raiders are not a good team, but their defense is pretty damn good. It's another divisional game. I'm taking the Raiders.
Zach.
Kansas City. I mean, there's no way that they lose 2 in a row.
All right, we'll say no way.
No way. Hey, I'm going with the Chiefs. I think if the fact that they lost at home and that Chiefs defense actually played well. Jalen Hurts actually only threw for 150 yards and 2 interceptions. If Lamar Jackson had done that,
in this economy, we would
have talked about how the Ravens got lucky.
Are the Ravens getting their money's worth?
Yeah, but I think Chiefs bounce back. I love what the Raiders are doing. They could try to keep it close. Like, I love the energy, but the Chiefs are going to come out with vengeance.
Two more games here. We got Bills at Eagles. This is going to be a great game, I think. Eagles are favored by 3.5. I think the Eagles actually do take this one. The Bills just have no identity still, and I can't trust them, so I'm taking the Eagles on that one.
Weirdly enough, I can't trust the Bills at all, but I feel like the Bills take this one. I don't know what it is. I think the Eagles are so – I don't want to say that this past Monday was their Super Bowl, but the way that some people, their head coach, were acting, that was their Super Bowl. So
AJ Brown had 1 reception that whole game. I just think he goes off against the Bills.
Well,
I can see that.
I'll say this: the Bills just beat up on the Jets, so everyone's feeling really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be the most entertaining game on Sunday, without a doubt. And I'm going to take Philly. It's at home. Swift looked great. AJ, if you stop AJ Brown, can you stop Devontae Smith? I don't think they do both. Philly.
All right. And lastly, of course, we have the Ravens at Chargers. Ravens are favored by only 3.5 points. Thought that was interesting. Ravens have the second best defense in the league. Then you have Lamar Jackson and crew behind him on the other side of the ball. The Chargers have been an absolute mess. I think should be an easy game for the Ravens to win. Don't really see how the offense is on the Chargers is going to do well against that Ravens defense. So taking the Ravens.
I mean, going Baltimore. Got to go Baltimore. But I'm telling you, this game is going to be stressful for fans.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a very, very, very stressful game.
Agreed. I don't think this is going to be a blowout.
Chargers are realistically, Chargers are playing to stay in the hunt.
Yeah.
They drop this game, they're 4-7.
They're done.
Then they're done.
Season's over.
Season's on the line for them tonight.
Yeah,
or Sunday.
It scares me, but I am going to go Ravens, but it's going to be very close.
47 points.
No chance.
Oh, that might be an under.
That's a total under. That's a total under.
Yeah.
And then we'll get the Bears and Vikings on Monday
night. Yep.
On Monday. Well, hey guys, do we have to talk about our dogs riding the Jets?
I think we're all riding the Jets.
We're all riding the Jets. Yeah,
And then my other one was Panthers. I really like.
My dog of the week was the Raiders.
That was your dog.
Oh,
of the week.
yeah.
Well, how about this, guys? We're talking about it. We have Thanksgiving games, a lot of fun happening with that. You guys got a ride or die for this week? The guy that you are counting on, depending on for this week?
It's AJ Brown. Again, just taking the 1 reception against the Chiefs. I think he just set to go off. The Bills defense hasn't been all that great. Their secondary, I couldn't tell you one player on the secondary, unless you can. I really don't know any household names on the secondary.
Well,
I don't think
especially
so I think the AJ Brown just bodies all of them.
Douglas has played extremely well since coming over. He had a massive game.
Yeah.
But again, it's hard to tell with the Jets because they can't block, they can't play offense, they can't.
Yeah.
They can't. Who do you got?
I gotta go. My guy, love tight ends, Dalton Schultz. He has been massive for me in fantasy recently. CJ Stroud just loves finding them at the best moments.
Mm-hmm.
He had a really cool sliding in touchdown last week. Actually won me my game. So Dalton Schultz, ride or die.
Ride or die. I'm always riding with Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I don't think he gets enough credit. We talked about this last week. The dude is unbelievable. I think he has another big game on Thanksgiving against the Packers. But one that I'm really interested to see is Kenneth Walker's not going to play. So now you have Zach Charbonnet. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Charbonnet. I'm sorry. I didn't take French. Charbonnet is going to be the workhorse. And I know it's San Francisco, but he catches passes. And if a game stays competitive, he's probably going to have to be. And if they're getting blown out, pass it to him. So I'm going to roll with Charbonnet this week. I think he has a solid game replacing Kenneth Walker.
There you have it.
Before we get out of here, because this was on my mind here, guys. And the reason why I brought up that Lamar Jackson conversation with Jalen Hurts, right, is people are looking at it that was the Super Bowl win for the Eagles. That was getting it right. We saw Sirianni celebrate in the tunnel, which
cornball.
That was, who the hell cares what if fans are yelling at you? You just gotta. It was stupid. Anyway.
I will say the biggest thing that got me upset about that, not necessarily that he did it, or I didn't like how he did it, that stuff. Then Eagles fans were saying, oh, people hate when Sirianni is passionate, but love when Dan Campbell's passionate. And they are two completely different passionates. Dan Campbell just loves football. Nick Sirianni loves Nick Sirianni. Yeah. And there's a massive difference between the two's loves. Nick Sirianni loves when Nick Sirianni is being talked about as a good football coach and that he's right. Dan Campbell got hyped when another team whooped their ass last year because they played so well in all three phases, and he was just blown away by it.
Kicked our ass.
Yeah,
man.
like there is such a big difference between the two's energy.
Well, Darius Slay also in that game, with the Chief Chop, and then it was just fuck yous all the way down.
So. And I like the banters back and forth. I think it was just the way that it was coming out there for Sirianni. But you're right, Dan Campbell, different guy, man.
Yeah, I think that's what got me. I was like, that's not Dan Campbell.
Yeah, until you say you're gonna bite someone's kneecap off on the get-go. Like, I just love he is the same person through everything, which is amazing. But this is why I wanted to talk about it, because Jalen Hurts had a rough game as far as offensively. Hit 150 passing yards. That Eagles defense made some big plays. He did have 2 rushing touchdowns.
Not rushing.
Push-tush touchdowns.
He was thrown in the end zone.
Well, thrown in the end zone. No, but he had
not letting you get away with that one.
I thought he
it's tush push.
I thought he had a 10-yard.
No. Okay,
yeah, one of them. Did. And then he got.
Yeah,
and then he got.
He had
tush.
1 rushing touchdown. 1 he was tossed in the end zone by his ass cheeks.
Okay, but here's the point. It was a rough game as far as for that, but they found a way to win. And everyone's looking at it is that you beat the good team. If Lamar did that and they won the game, it'd be like, well, they won, but it's the question. But now the bigger discussion, guys, is that there's a new leader for MVP odds, and that is Jalen Hurts. So Jalen Hurts is now, if we're looking at this, I'll try to pull this up in a second. Jalen Hurts is now leading with Lamar Jackson second, Patrick Mahomes third, and Tua fifth. Your boy Dak, Brad, is now sixth with the highest at plus 1,600, but he has been on fire as of recently. So I asked you guys.
Against shitty teams.
Okay, well here, let me just I'm going to share my
It's
screen.
been against
here.
shitty teams. I mean, who have the Cowboys played in the last 3-4 weeks?
Well, here I wanted to share the screen here for a second for people to see. Okay, so Jalen Hurts is the favorite now. Lamar second, Mahomes, Tua, Dak, and Brock's just sitting there without a picture too. By the way,
What? How are they going to do Brock dirty like that? Get the man a picture.
Get the man a
He was in the NFC Championship last year.
Just put a penis as his profile.
Big
picture.
cock Brock.
Yeah, guy's a stud. But so you're seeing that. So I'm asking you guys, why is Aaron Rodgers' name still on that list?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Is this how accurate is it?
I don't know. But
no, it is accurate.
It is
I'm looking
accurate.
at live FanDuel stuff right now.
Yeah. So, but I don't understand the rest of it. But Jalen Hurts, guys, he's had a great year. Argument of right now, would you agree with the Jalen Hurts is now the MVP favorite?
Hell no.
No, not even close.
Not a shot.
I think CJ Stroud is more of an MVP than Jalen.
100%. And I actually talked about this with Ryan when we were doing our pre-show notes. I said, listen, I don't have to take Lamar Jackson. I know I'm a homer, but CJ Stroud is certainly, I think, actually playing better this season than anybody at this stage in the season. I don't know who's playing better.
This
ball
is
as a quarterback.
This is the weakest MVP race I remember for some time.
I agree. I mean, there's a chance that there's a player that's not a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, like, tell me why Tyreek Hill or Christian McCaffrey, if they do insane stuff the last 6-7 weeks, can't win that.
Yeah.
I just think if there was ever a year, it would be this year because no quarterback's running away with it.
Right.
And the only guy that I would say is running away with it, if he wasn't a rookie, would be CJ Stroud. I think the only reason CJ Stroud is plus 1,800 is because he's a rookie.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, but it could change here if the Texans win that game. And if the Texans finish with 12 wins, could be a very different discussion. But to give context, CJ Stroud has 17 passing touchdowns. He has 5 interceptions, and 3 of them came in this last game. Like, it was a rough one. He had 2 bad interceptions in the red zone, but he's second in the league in passing yards. Guys balling out. But Jalen Hurts, I'm going to defend Jalen Hurts a little bit here. I do think if the Eagles roll, it's going to be a big part because Hurts is playing very well. That was not his best game. So I would say stop traffic. We're good.
Oh, it's just one of the lights.
Yeah, it's fine. Just one of the lights went down. It's fine.
Talk
it's all
about
in the
stop
studio.
traffic. I did just, as we were talking, we convinced me. I just put money on CJ Stroud to win MVP.
Well, there it is. But hey, for Jalen Hurts, I think so far in the season, he's got 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, almost 2,500 receiving yards. The interception part is going to be looked at more, but rushing wise, you can say the tush pushes. No team falls down at the 1-yard line more than the Eagles, but they do have 9. He does have 9 touchdowns rushing. So he's got 24 combined touchdowns for the season, and he's on the best team in the NFL. So I think if it's not Jalen, I'd probably say CJ Stroud's going to creep in. But Lamar Jackson here, let's talk about this for a second.
Yeah.
If the Ravens win the number 1 seed or get the number 1 seed, I think Lamar Jackson wins the MVP.
I agree.
Actually, well, that'll be interesting because I think that Jalen Hurts will probably get. It's not going to be unanimous, obviously.
No.
I think that's, but Eagles end up being number 1 seed, then you start making arguments for Jalen Hurts as well. So it'll be very interesting to see Ravens get number 1, Philadelphia gets number 1, what that looks like. I think, what does it come down to, right? Like, obviously this is all voting and so a lot of it's political, but does it come down to touchdowns? Does it come down to wins? I don't know.
I think if it's between Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson, I think they give it Jalen Hurts because then they would each have 1. I think if Jalen Hurts already had an MVP, they'd give it to Lamar. I think it could be one of those things where now could suddenly not as good of a year. If Lamar Jackson has 2 MVPs already, that's Hall of Fame. Like,
oh yeah.
So now you are really like you said, it's a lot of political stuff. I don't necessarily think always the best season wins MVP, but it'll be interesting to see.
Well, then the best season would be for the season, if it's on pace, would be Tyreek Hill.
Exactly.
Tyreek Hill is still balling out. Now, the Dolphins aren't winning enough games, but that would be, if we're talking about seasons.
Yeah.
But for Lamar Jackson's sake right now, let's just face it, you're down Mark Andrews. You got to go through San Francisco, Jacksonville on the road, and you got to beat the Dolphins, Steelers, these teams, Chargers. I think it's going to be a big reason if this offense plays well, it's going to be because Lamar Jackson was sensational. Even though the defense is great, that's just what I'm thinking. It was a good discussion.
Lamar's also thrown only 5 touchdowns compared to 9 for Jalen Hurts. Or
interceptions, yeah.
Sorry.
12-5, and then Lamar Jackson has run for 535 yards. Even that doesn't seem like, man, he's only
he's having a light year.
Lamar hasn't done as much. He still has 535 rush yards and 5 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Guy's incredible. Talk about Cam Newton's numbers. Lamar is now 28 rush yards away from eclipsing 5,000.
6 games to go.
It's incredible. He really is. I think that does.
I guess you could say he's Lamarvelous.
Oh my goodness.
Jesus.
And again, I'm the corny asshole.
It's so much funnier when we just say you're the corny one, and then we can make the corny jokes and no one says anything.
Yep. Hey, Mace, last thing, I'm with you here. Strength of schedule, Lamar's MVP if they win that number 1 seed. It would have happened if he didn't get hurt in 2021 when he was lighting it up.
Yep.
I think we hopefully we see that same different Lamar. But hey, that's all we got. Well, what do you got? You got one more thing.
Tomorrow, Loyola Dons, Calvert Hall Cardinals.
Oh, it's Turkey Bowl. Roll
Dons. Shout out to Coach Zayu and them. Massive. if it was Don's by 1 million, I'd alternate spread it to Don's by 1.5 million. That's how confident I am. Roll Don's.
What's that series at?
It's 103 years. It's 103, I believe.
But how many? I mean, who's one more?
So I want to say it's 50. We have 50 wins. That's like 40. There's 8 ties in there. So
that's
up.
unacceptable.
I know. And there's a 0-0 tie.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh my God.
The 1930s, it was just some ground and pound football.
We got the tape on that. Do we got the tape on that? Well, maybe not. Hey, speaking of Thanksgivings, though, before we get out of here, we'll just mention this. Thanksgiving memories. Maybe we just go around real quickly. Mm-hmm. One thing that just got brought to my attention, Creed on Thanksgiving, the Cowboys. That's where that meme and everything started, ladies and gentlemen, where that guy was flying through the air. How the hell, you just can't go flying through the air like that, Jackie. It's incredible. The Harbaugh Bowl.
Yeah, I think that's an all-timer. That's probably like my biggest thing was the Harbaugh Bowl.
Harbaugh Bowl. And here it is. Yes.
Show him in the air. Where is he?
It's coming. Don't worry about it.
Oh, and it's so iconic. And he's
There
rocking.
he is.
There he is. That's how Ryan gets home from the studio each time.
Oh, I would probably get there quicker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a whole nother.
That's a whole other topic.
A whole nother deal.
But you see that? How's he going flying through the air right now? We don't know. This was 20 years ago, whatever it was. Amazing.
Technology really took a step back.
Amazing.
You don't see people flying around by curtains anymore. Like
why? And I still have to drive a car up there in the parkway.
Yeah, right. I mean, Rihanna was coming out of the sky pregnant.
Yeah.
Last year. So
well, she was on platforms 100 and some feet. 200.
Either way.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, guy.
Well, no, it is. But Lady Gaga came down from the rafters.
Like on an elephant or some shit. Oh no, maybe
who jumped off the stage? Was it Lady Gaga?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't like that big, but I do remember like she jumped into like I can only assume like a foam pit below or something.
Yeah, maybe. I
but
don't know.
They just it's back then we were way ahead of our time. Brad, you got anything for Thanksgiving memories for you?
Mine was going to be the Harbaugh Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just like a memorable one, and it was also the same year the Ravens went on their Super Bowl run. So, that was a fun one.
That was the same year.
Yeah,
Super Bowl run.
Mm-hmm.
John's got him 2-0.
Yeah.
Well, hey, big game for the Harbaughs again this weekend. Even though he's not going to be coach on the sideline, Ohio State.
The game.
Should be fun.
Michigan's going to whoop their ass.
Go Michigan. Official. Do they do that? Something they do?
I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't do it. I don't know what that is, but everyone
give them the dub and then like Michigan. Like
no, unless it's Jameis eating W's, man, it just don't matter. I don't even know what the hell that is.
Eating the dub? That's a dub. That's another dub.
What the fuck?
Do you not know that?
No. We know I brought up the Jameis Winston.
Yeah, I know, but Brad, do you know?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's you. You thought with the you know what? We're done.
Okay. Thank you all for joining Ryan's corny show. Anything else?
Welcome. We appreciate you guys joining Ryan Ripken and Good Kids. This has been Thanksgiving special, but in all seriousness, you guys enjoy time if you have the ability to be with your family and friends around it. Enjoy it. As you get older, life it's different. I'm spread out with my family right now. It's actually my sister's birthday today. So she's out there. Happy birthday, Rach. Happy birthday, Rach. But enjoy, guys. We will be back on Monday to recap, hopefully, which is a good holiday weekend for us. And that'll do it for this Ryan Ripken show. We'll talk soon.
Deuces.
I did a hat tip. I don't know why.
You know what I'm thinking about? Like arrows.